Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and today I'm here with Eric.
Mr. Bottoms?
We are back discussing Santa Barbara. Today we're discussing episodes 36 to 40. So I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So I just want to say right off the bat, I know we've kind of said this before, the business stuff kind of like our brains go blank. um, and this was no different. The whole Lionel, Mason, Veronica, Peter storyline, I I fell asleep. Literally.
I get it. I get it. I thought it was funny actually, because the bidding and all that.
I enjoyed seeing Veronica because she's interesting, but everything that she was doing, I was just like, I don't know if I care about this. But
I liked it.
the editing is very weird in this show because, like, when you think that it's gonna pick up on like a cliffhanger or like a dramatic moment, it's like the next day in the next episode.
Yeah,
And I don't know if they were trying to give it like a primetime feel by doing that.
right.
But it's very jarring sometimes. Also, I don't know if in the video that you watched, but there were some scenes where like the music, the background music was like full on blast, and then out of nowhere it just cut off and it was just silent.
Yeah, yeah, that did happen a couple times.
And I'm like, who edited this like professionally?
It did seem to have some issues this week. I don't know. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know what their deal was.
So Augusta
We
and
still
Peter.
didn't.
Oh, go
We
ahead.
still didn't get Eden. No Eden yet. I thought she was going to be in these five, but she wasn't even mentioned. I don't think.
Yeah, she was. She was.
But she was. I missed it then.
I was awake for that. So Augusta and Peter are meeting in the presidential suite at the Capitol Hotel.
Yes.
I guess that's where Peter works. I didn't know. I thought he worked for Capitol Industries.
I don't know. I'm confused where they work.
They work for Capitol something.
Yeah,
A
like
lot,
Peter and Mason work together, right?
yeah, but they don't like each other.
Right.
um, Lionel is listening and watching through a two-way mirror.
Yeah.
That
That
was
was silly.
like his little comments where he was just like, "Go ahead, Augusta, admit that you're cheating on me." He's like, "Because God help you." And then when she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about, Peter," like, he was just like, "Damn it."
I said that got on my nerves actually. I was like, this is annoying.
Augusta wants Peter to spy on Mason to find out what he wants with the Lockridge beachfront property.
Yeah,
She threatens to tell Kelly everything she knows about Peter's past. I guess that includes that they once were very sexual together,
probably.
which kind of contradicts her not wanting Lionel to really know what she does behind his back. Because if she tells Kelly, I feel like Lionel's going to find out.
Most likely, but she's probably not thinking of that.
Either that or
I
she doesn't
guess.
care. Maybe she's just like, whatever, it's collateral damage. I'll deal with it if I have to.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Maybe she just thinks he'll do what she wants, you know?
yeah. Um, they discuss Joe and Kelly, and I like how she rubs in his face, like, "Oh, does it bother you that she's with Joe right now?"
Yeah, that was
uh,
fun.
um, Peter wants Veronica to flirt with Mason, and when Mason shows up for a meeting with the bankers, there's going to be an auction for the property, which actually doesn't belong to the Lockridges.
Right.
Uh, Lionel shows up at home and he's drunk and he's like ready to like take out his anger on Augusta.
Augusta. Yes.
I like right before he got upstairs though, she picked up like a comb, not a comb, a brush or like something hard to hit him over the head with.
Hey.
Like she's done this
Yeah.
before, she's ready to fight.
Right. I know their relationship confuses me.
And we see Minx like listening to them and she's just like, I can't deal with this. This is unacceptable.
I don't get enough of Minx. I
No.
feel like I want her in the mix a little bit more, so hopefully she gets involved a little bit more.
So you're gonna be shocked that I'm saying this, but Jade didn't get on my nerves this week.
You know, it's funny because I figured she probably wouldn't because she got on my nerves. And it wasn't even her. It wasn't even her. I was just thinking like this storyline for the teens got worse in my opinion, and I'm like Tommy's gonna like this, and I'm gonna hate it.
Loved it.
And
I love that they were in LA. I was just like, oh, this feels so good. We're back at home. Like,
I thought it was so stupid. I'm like this I don't know. The class stuff got on my nerves. I'm like whatever.
um, but I did think because in the very first episode we see Jade and Joe's father, and I was like, oh, he's so mad that he's here.
Oh yes, I am. I put asshole and his wife reconnect.
Danny shows up, and Jade and Danny want to go out, so and they kind of use that as an excuse to get her parents alone so they could
No,
talk,
yeah,
maybe rekindle.
yeah. Jade wants to go out just to get them because they're together or whatever.
They
I'm like,
kind of
if that wife's smart, she'll stay away from that asshole. He's annoying. Like, I'd be like annoyed with him. I'd be like, you don't even believe our son. Like, you're done, dude.
they are getting along, except for when Joe comes up. That's like the hot topic.
Right?
I mean, it's the reason why they split up. They never agreed on that. Um,
Yeah, because he's an asshole.
there's like a broken
He's the
lamp,
worst.
and she's just like, consider dinner the payment for the fixing the broken lamp.
Yeah,
And then he like talks. He asks her if she like still goes bowling, and she's like, I don't have time with the new job. She's working at the private school that Jade's gonna go to, I guess, so Jade can go for free.
yeah,
But school hasn't even started yet, so like, how is she working that job in the cafeteria? I mean, I'm sure there's
yeah.
other
Right.
things that you could do, maybe like the weeks leading up to school opening, but like getting the kitchen ready, maybe. I don't know,
Yeah, maybe.
but I don't see that as like a full time summer job. I feel like that would just be locked up in the summer, unless there's
Yeah,
summer school. Maybe there's summer school,
there could be. I don't know how private school works.
or maybe I'm just thinking about this too much. It's a soap opera job.
You're going in too deep.
um, they're strangely supportive of Jade's Hollywood ambitions. Like the dad's like, I really thought she would have made it. Maybe she'll go back and be famous one day.
Yeah, right.
Um, Jade and Danny show up at the beach bar, and Warren is there. And Jade is like very
Warren.
flirty with Warren. She's always kind of been like that though. Whenever she sees him, she's like, "Hey, Warren, what's up?"
I would be too, that hunk of man.
And I don't know if you caught this, but Jade mentions her older sister Amy.
Yes, I did.
Now it's the second time, because I don't know if you remember. You probably don't. Probably like 3 episodes ago, I said the mom mentioned Amy, and I was like, "There's another sibling."
Yeah, I remember hearing about her before. I'm wondering if she's gonna come eventually, but
Yeah.
um, I don't know because Eden's not there yet, and she was mentioned. So
Um, Joe holds Dominic at gunpoint. I forgot that's where we left off in the gazebo at night. 'Cause,
yeah,
Dominic was going to get the love letters that are hidden. Um, they find the letters that Channing. Oh, they find the letters from Channing, and they threaten each other. But Joe's the one that has the gun.
yeah,
Santana and Cruz show up, and they kind of both like. It's funny because he had Dominic at gunpoint, but then as soon as like they heard a noise, it's like they were hiding together. He was like, "Get behind the bush."
yeah,
um, they leave, and Dominic promises to find Kelly. Santana and Cruz argue about Joe, and Cruz kind of flirts with Santana, and he kisses her, and I was like, "Oh, we are doing this," until Eden shows up.
yeah. I guess.
Because I did feel like they were very flirty, but they never really crossed that line just yet, and here we are kissing.
Yeah, I figured they would get there. It seemed like it was heading that way.
Joe and Dominic look through his Chandler's letters, and They learned that Santana had a baby and was forced to give it up. And Santana turns Cruz down. And Channing wrote in the letter that he knew a terrible secret. And that was a cliffhanger that did pick up where it left off,
Right.
thankfully.
But I feel like I don't know, I felt like we got nowhere with this storyline though, because I'm like, obviously he knew something or he wouldn't have been dead. So they're like, oh, now he knows. Like, but what does he know? We don't know.
That was the only new detail that we learned, is that he felt like his life was in danger, I guess.
Right.
But other than that, it's all info that we already knew, but these other characters were finding out.
Yeah.
Um, so the next episode, Lionel shows up drunk to confront Augusta about
Mm-hmm.
being with Peter, and she finally admits it. And then they start talking about the beachfront property, and Augusta walks out after a big fight.
So the only thing I was confused with the beachfront property is how they lost it. So I get that like it like got willed to a dead man's like whatever, the guy that died, he like inherited it, but he's dead, so that like now there's free reign to get it. But I
Mhm.
don't know how they lost it because it was theirs, right?
I don't
That's
know.
yeah, that's what I'm confused about. 'Cause I
Um,
was trying to really focus on that because but I really still don't understand how they lost it. It was theirs, so it makes no sense. But it was now like it now belongs to the state, which is why they're able to get it. But I
yeah.
don't know how they lost it.
Ted,
Somebody explain.
Ted, Ted and Lakin are home, and that's kind of what breaks up Augusta and Lionel, because Augusta's like, "You're not going to act out in front of your daughter. That'll derail everything." That's
Yeah.
kind of how she gets away. And then Lionel does end up like sobering up and calming down because he like just like hangs out with Lakin and they talk. Um, Ted goes home and Peter asks him where Kelly is. And I like
Yeah.
Ted and Kelly. I really do. I like how protective he is of her.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Forget it. I'm not giving you the number. She told me she was okay and that she would call me, and I'm not giving the number to anybody." um, but he gives in and he calls Kelly, and Peter picks up the other line, and Kelly tells Peter she's made some big decisions and she's gonna come home to tell him in person.
Hmm.
So now you know his head's spinning because he thinks it's about Joe.
Right.
Uh,
I wanted to point out one thing. When Jade was, did we get to the where Jade was telling everybody that her business? Yeah, that was in the first episode. I wanted to point out the one boy that she was telling like her friends or whatever.
mhm.
Um, he was in Mr. Belvedere. Did you ever watch that show?
I don't remember anything about that show. I know I did watch it when I was little because I
Yeah,
on Nick at Night or something.
he he was the older brother. I was like, oh, and I met him, and he was like super super friendly. He's the nicest guy.
Really?
So I just wanted to give a shout out. Do I remember his name? Not right this moment, but but anyway, go on.
So while Joe is reading Channing's journal, um, Dominic wants to take the letters home to study them, and Joe is not having it. And Dominic just keeps saying, "I've been putting work in for 5 years. Like, well, you were in prison doing nothing. I was doing the work."
Yeah,
And he keeps trying to reassure Joe that he's on his side, and Joe's like, "No, I don't think so."
no,
And Joe actually ends up taking a picture of Dominic. Cruz arrives and overhears Dominic saying Santana's baby. So this is how Cruz finds out that Santana had a baby. um, and Dominic just leaves. Joe like introduces Cruz to Dominic, and Dominic just walks out.
he just walks in, don't even say, "Oh, hey, what's up?"
Also,
Gotta go.
I was looking at Dominic's face, and it could be that it's just because we're now seeing him in lighting, sort of. But
Yeah,
the face looks different. I feel like they switched the actor at this point. The bone structure looks
I
different.
I don't know because I think this is I think whoever said it's Rosemary Forsyth. I think it is still her because I know who she is, and it looked like her. So, but
Uh,
now they maybe in the darkness they might have had like another person, like 'cause, it's dark, so you don't really know who it is.
right.
Yeah.
Um, Joe finds another letter.
Yeah.
Um, and Cruz returns Santana's letters and offers to help her with her baby. And she's kind of pissed that like Joe told her that, and he like defends Joe, which pisses her off more. He's like, Joe wanted
Right.
to return the letters himself. He didn't because he didn't want you being hurt, and he's not going to tell anybody. And she's like, yeah, okay, whatever. She doesn't believe him. She thinks everybody's going to find out. He's like, do your parents know? And I love how dramatic it is. It's like, do my parents know? Yes, my mother was so happy to find out that I hid a pregnancy for her for years.
Yeah,
It's just so melodramatic,
it is.
but I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
um, Peter and Mason have an argument at the hotel about Kelly, and Peter and uh, they each want Veronica to spy on each other.
Yeah,
And
I know. I
meanwhile,
was
Lionel wants her
confused.
to spy also.
Yeah, so Lionel wanted to get the info to blackmail Peter for the Beechwood shit,
Mhm.
and Peter wanted it. I don't know what for. He didn't say, did he?
I
Just
don't know.
to
Like I said, I kind of check
yeah,
out mentally when they start talking business.
but it's not really a business. He wanted it to like blackmail him at some point. I don't know if he had like a good reason why at that
um,
point. But they both have the same goals. They don't like Mason and they want to get at him.
Peter records Mason talking cruelly about Cece to Veronica from the secret room. And okay, they did the role of Cece Capel is now being played by whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I can't get used to him being CC. Like when they call him CC, I'm like, no, doesn't feel right.
I'm kind of used to him and I feel that him and Santana actually have chemistry. That's just my opinion.
We don't agree on anything, do we?
No.
Because I was thinking the opposite. I was like, she had more chemistry with the first CC.
I don't
Why are
know
we
why I
friends?
hit that.
Why are we friends? We don't like anything.
We're frenemies.
The one thing that we agree on is that we like soap operas. That's where it ends. That's the only thing that we like that's the same.
I know. I know. It's true. Although I do love Philip and Chloe. That's we have that in common.
Okay. Yay. um Augusta and Lionel are having breakfast at La Mesa, and at first it's like separate. He's like sitting across the restaurant by himself.
Yeah.
But then there's like a whole montage. It's a small montage of them eating sexy towards each other. Like
Yeah. I put like something like sexy eating. It was really weird.
they go home and they're preparing for the auction. And Minx threatens Lionel if he sells her rubies.
Yeah, I guess because he's just trying to get as much money as he can. Because I'm like, they're rich already, aren't they? But maybe they don't have as much, as much money as he needs to get that Beechwood property back.
Uh, Joe wants to know who the woman on the postcard is. He tells Dominic that Channing hired a PI. Santana shows up while Dominic is there, and Joe and Santana have a heart to heart. Santana goes to the Capitol House to see CC, and
CCC.
they plan a date and go on a plane ride.
That was cute.
Yeah. uh, Veronica and Peter listen to the recording of Mason ranting about TC.
Yeah.
Veronica gives Lionel a copy too. Kelly calls and says she's coming home.
Yay.
Joe tells Augusta he's about to find out who hired the men to beat him up. And Kelly tells Peter she will see Joe whenever she wants. That's her big
Yeah, I
announcement.
like that. Yeah,
I
that was her big influence.
I
That
did
was
think of you.
kind
I
of
was like, she's finally acting the way that you wanted her to act since the beginning. Like, she's still not 100%, but
right.
she's agreeing that he could be innocent now, at least.
It it took 38 episodes to get her here, but we're here.
Right.
I'm still not into them as a couple, but I'm like, all right, girl. Now I get it because she also confronted them, what him, Cece, and Mason at one point, and and said like this is what she wants and she doesn't want to be influenced. And I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Like maybe, although I mean, she did walk in and see it, kind of like, so that's why she would think, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess she was also influenced by them, like, pounding it, or like he killed it, and he killed him, you know.
Yeah.
So she's like, I want to see Joe, and like that's it. Like, the way she said it was confusing to me. I'm like, is she telling that she wants to like date Joe, or just like wants to be his friend? Like, I'm
It was
confused.
very gray, like, that it was a gray area 'cause,
Yeah,
as it seems that she is still with Peter, but it did sound like I don't know.
right.
I don't know,
Like, I want to see Joe.
incriminating.
Like, I
It
want
was
to
very
date
like,
Joe.
"I'm gonna see him if I want to." Like,
Right. I was like, are you telling your
fiance?
fiance that you want to see another man?
Yeah.
And you're wondering why he's getting upset? Like, I'd be a little upset. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe if you said like, I'm going to see Joe as a friend. He's my friend. Like, but she really just kept, I'm going to see Joe. And I'm like, date him? I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Ted and Lee can go back to school, and Jade is there too. It's a prep school, so Danny doesn't go, which we knew because on the car ride home from LA, they kinda talked about that.
Yeah.
Uh, so obviously Peter and Kelly
So
fight. What? Go
what
ahead.
are they seniors?
Um,
They
I
don't
don't know.
mention the year, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm guessing seniors
I
because
would
they
hope they were
seem old,
seniors.
right?
I mean, not that it would make it okay, just to make it less icky that she almost did porn. Like,
Right. And to like almost be 18, you would have
yeah,
to be a senior, I would think.
yeah.
Uh,
So maybe they're
I
7.
don't know. Yeah, I'm hoping because like even like just to live in Hollywood in the summer by yourselves, like
Mhm.
I don't know. It's weird.
But also the '80s were a different time.
That is true. But you would think they'd be like, if maybe an aunt was out there, they could have like,
Yeah.
had her like look over them. I mean, they ended up with peaches, but but still.
Well, I think the apartment that they had was a cousin of Danny's. I think that they stayed with, like, family.
Oh, okay. So there was that
Yeah.
mentioned at some point.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
I
when he
didn't
was
know that.
trying to convince, Rosa and his dad to let him go, I think they mentioned that.
Okay,
So obviously Peter and Kelly fight about Joe, about her seeing him.
of course. Well,
So Kelly has been staying with Gina DeMont and Brandon. That is, Santana's son.
yeah, I thought so, and then I was confused by it. But they don't know about. So do they not know where the sun came from, or that's like,
I don't know because Cece's involved. Like, he sees this child. He makes phone calls to check in on him,
and that's probably how.
and he got the phone call the last time we watched. Remember when they were in the gazebo that something happened with
Yeah,
his dad, that he had a heart attack or something, and he was like, "I'm on my way."
yeah,
Um, she must be a friend of the family that Kelly knows her and it was staying with her, or maybe they went to school together.
yeah.
I'm not really clear on that yet,
Same.
but that's juicy. So Gina moves
Yeah.
into the Capwa Hotel. Gina's husband died. Um, Kelly tells Cece, Ted, and Mason she plans to see Joe and tells them to stop giving Joe trouble. Ted wasn't really giving him trouble though. Um,
Yeah.
we had a little Mason versus Lionel at the auction,
That was funny.
and Augusta freaks out when Lionel bids 10 million and blackmails Mason with a cassette.
See, so what was this a setup though for them? Like, cause like she was like dying, but then at the same time, in the next breath, she was like, "You didn't get the property back," and I'm like, he offered $10 million for it and lost.
Mm,
Like he tried,
right,
like, but she was like having a heart attack when he said like 5.5. So
right.
I was so confused. I'm like, was it a setup to like, I don't know. I was confused. I don't understand what was happening with that. She was having like a full-blown panic attack.
Mason bids anyway, and he wins. Um, he confronts Veronica, then Peter, and finds the bug that was planted.
Well, after he went off on Veronica for a little bit, he was like blaming her right away because like he's like, who else would know? She's working all the angles. This Veronica, she was in it.
Right. Which
Very invested.
which wouldn't a character I feel like that usually ends up dead.
Right? Yeah. I
um,
feel like that you might be right. That might be heading toward that at some point.
Mason suggests Peter stage an attack to revoke Joe's parole.
Mm,
So he's not going to listen to Kelly.
mm-mm.
um, Dominic goes to the hotel looking for a 25-year-old register. Um, oh, so my friend sent me this note. He said Howie from Days of Our Lives is the hotel clerk. Howie Hofstetter, the PI that Bo
Oh,
works
okay.
with.
Oh, nice.
This is 84. Huh.
Yeah.
I guess he could have did both because he was like a recurring character.
They had a lot of people in this show in like the first 2 months. Like it's crazy.
I know. We're only in episode 40. It started end of July. We're in September or the end of September.
Yeah, like David Hasselhoff, like a ton of
um,
people.
yeah, what's her
Tim
name?
Robbins,
The blonde that's Leanna Love. Um, Cramp,
Barbara
Barbara
Crampton.
Crampton. Yeah,
Yeah, it's weird.
Andrew Laird from Dynasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, where am I? Oh, so Joe arrives after Dominic has stole the page from the register, and Howie, the actor,
Right,
um,
right. The hotel clerk.
plays dumb, and he's like, Joe's basically like, "You trying to tell me that this has been missing for 25 years?"
So what exactly were they looking for? Did you know? Like, did you understand it? Like, as I didn't.
No, no.
I'm like, so they were looking for something from 1960, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what this has to do with what Channing found. I don't know. I'm confused by it. I was more confused about that than the business stuff.
Yeah, I think I was just kind of like, whatever. When it comes to the climax, maybe it'll all make sense.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully. Or it'll just be a plot hole that never gets solved.
um, Mason accuses Santana of having a secret lover.
Right.
Oh, this is okay. So Santana and Cece are talking about their date, and then and then Mason shows up, and Mason tells Santana about the tape, and then accuses her of having a secret lover. That's what happened.
Right.
Um,
Oh.
Kelly goes to Joe's house to see him, and his mom answers, and she's very like she's very okay with the fact that the woman that accused Joe of murder is just there, like, hey, show home. I'd be like,
Well,
bitch, get off my property. You sent my son to jail for 5 years.
okay with asshole dad, so why not?
True. She doesn't have good judgment.
No.
But also, I forgot that Joe was living at home. I thought he was living with Cruz on the boat.
Joe's never home.
I feel like the last time Joe was home was when that bomb was thrown through the window.
Yeah, which was like week 2.
Right. Um, Joe calls Kelly back, and Kelly goes to see him. This is when Eden calls and tells Ted that she's going to be coming home for Cece's birthday.
You must have missed that.
And Mason's like, yeah, okay, we'll see. She says that every year. He's like, but maybe this will be the one that she does because I have a great gift for dad. Um,
Was her voice heard? Her voice wasn't heard, was it?
no, it was just it was like,
Okay.
oh, Eden called and she said she's coming home. It was just like
Okay.
dialogue.
Jesus, sorry.
Uh, Cruz takes a job with CC full time. Joe confronts Dominic about the missing page from the hotel register. And Sophia Capwell was supposedly once held captive in that hotel. Joe knows Sophia was once involved with Lionel.
Oh,
So that's interesting. All these little layers add to like why these families hate each other.
yeah,
But they just keep intertwining over the years.
right.
um Veronica and Lionel talk by her hot tub, and this is the first time I realized, oh, this is her house because he's like all in his suit and she's like in her robe, and she even says, "Oh, you want to get in the tub?" And he's like, "No, thanks."
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay, this is her hot tub."
Yeah.
um, Veronica worries about Peter's wrath, and Lionel hides when Mason shows up to apologize.
Yeah.
And we already said this. Veronica's playing Mason, Peter, and Lionel against each other, so she's probably gonna die
It's
or
heading
go to
that
jail. I
way.
don't know.
Murder mystery coming in November sweeps.
Well, I do know she stays till 1985, so maybe February sweeps.
Maybe there'll be flashbacks.
Maybe. uh, Peter wants Lionel to help get Joe's parole revoked, and Lionel refuses. And Warren wants to work with Lionel. There was a scene, I don't remember which episode it was in, it was probably the last one, where Augusta is like adamant she wants Joe found because she wants him to come back to work for her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just want to have sex with Joe. That's what you want.
She misses that tea.
She misses that D, and also I still am very unclear on if she like likes him or wants him to go back to jail because her actions don't make sense.
No,
They're never the
because
same.
remember, like in the first episode, she was trying to get rid of him with everybody, but then acting like she was his best friend. So she doesn't want him there either. So it must be the whole, the battle of the Capwells and the Lockridges, you know?
Do you think she just wants him there to just like stick it to Kelly because she's a Capwell? Like, yeah, I fuck your man. Like,
No, I don't know. It's kind of like a keep your enemies closer type thing. So I think uh I don't know. She knows something that she has to, unless it's another going to be another plot hole. But I feel like she because she was trying to get rid of him from the beginning. So I don't know. There's a lot going on that I feel like we're not going to get answers to at some point. Like some of them we're going to have answers and some we aren't. We'll see.
and we basically just saw the teens at school. Nothing really happened. They were like pretend studying or whatever.
Yes, and so I wanted to bring that up. I don't know if you know classic television, but do you know that Mr. Bottoms is somebody?
um, the only thing that I can think of is the guy from Knots Landing that Lily May leaves with, but wasn't he Mr. Buttons?
That was, I think, Red Buttons
Red
in
Buttons.
real life. But
Okay.
no, this wasn't him. This was Ray Walston, and he was in My Favorite Martian in like the 50s and 60s with Bill Bixby. And also he was in a show in like the late 80s, early 90s with Holly Marie Combs called
Hmm.
Picket Fences.
Oh, I've heard of Picket Fences. I've never seen it, but
Yeah. But he's good. I was surprised to see him. But he popped up in everything in the 80s. He guest stars in a lot of things. So I was
I
I didn't know he
also
was in the soap though.
I also didn't know Holly Marie Combs did things before Charmed. Like I've heard that she was a child actress, but I've
Yeah.
never seen her in anything but Charmed. Oh, and Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, well, Picket Fences was a big thing too because of like the actors in it were somebody, like everybody was somebody except for her. Like I felt like that was like her first big
Was
thing.
it?
Even
Was
in
it
in Shannon's podcast, she talks about how she like had to bring her A game because she had Ray Walston from like My Favorite Martian and like Tom Skerritt, who was already big at the time in movies. Like
what kind of show was it? Was it a family drama? Was it like a cop show?
it's like a family drama. Yeah.
Oh,
It's on
okay.
Hulu, I think. Yeah. One day we can get to it. One
I'd
day.
I'd rather watch Party of Five.
I do want to see that again. Yeah. I only watched the first two seasons of Party of Five, so I do want to continue that someday.
I was slightly too young, which wouldn't have meant anything because I was watching 90210 at 7. But I came in, I think, on either the third or fourth season, and then because that was like the peak of my love for Jennifer Love Hewitt, so that's why I started tuning in.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I
I
did
was
not.
never into it. I was
It's
never into it in the 90s, but it started coming on like a TV, a pop channel. It's called like TV. I forget what it is.
okay,
But it was like the old TV Guide channel or something.
right? Hmm.
And they only showed like a season and a half. And this was maybe like 5 years ago or less. Um, and I was watching it every day, and then it just stopped like toward the end of season two. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's all I'll watch.
I bought it on DVD, but
I have it on DVD now.
yeah, because it randomly will stream and then it stops. It's weird.
Yeah, it is
Um,
weird.
but I remember, I guess when I was watching it live, that Lifetime had acquired like it in syndication.
Hmm.
So I remember one summer I watched like the first couple of seasons on Lifetime while it was still airing on Fox.
Oh, okay. I
Um,
didn't know that.
yeah.
Jeez.
But was there anything you wanted to mention that I forgot?
Um, I don't think so. Santana and Cruz, like you said, they got together kind of. Oh, Santana said that she was falling in love with Cece.
Do you think she's just saying that to
I
like
don't
get?
know.
I hope it's
She
not true.
convinced
Please
me
don't be true.
the way she said it. I was like, and then like with the whirlwind kind of romance thing, like he took her on the helicopter ride or the plane or whatever, and they saw whatever. And I'm like, is she falling in love with him? Like, I don't know. Or is she just trying to convince everybody to see her son like that bad? Because remember in the beginning, she was really all about that. And
Yeah,
then all of a sudden she was like, all right, I got to get off that and go a different route.
because
I don't know.
she's definitely still on it because when they were in the gazebo and he got the phone call that
Right.
what's Gina's husband was hurt or had a heart attack, she was still sneaking around trying to find the letters. That's why I was like, wouldn't she have heard the name Brandon and reacted to that? Because that's her son's name.
Right. And
But
she has been
maybe she
spending
didn't
like
hear it.
every minute with him.
Right.
Yeah. I'm guessing she is still trying to just get close, and she's going to kind of screw him over in the end.
And she's doing
Because I
such a
can
good
see,
job that she's tricking us also.
right?
Like, does she love
She
him?
is. I know. I was wondering that too because Cruz knows that she was doing that too. So
Uh-huh.
like maybe she is trying to convince everybody, and that's like her main goal is like I got to get my kid back or see him at least, and I'll do whatever I
Which
got to do
could
when
be also
when
why
I'm
she's
ready.
pushing Cruz off from that he's trying to like
Mm.
date her and she's like, nah, I'm good. Like because even
Yeah, I
like
don't
in the
know.
past when he's questioned like what's going on with you and Cece, she's like, mind your business. Like
Did you mention Peter and Lionel? They both want to take down Mason, and Peter's like, "Oh, we should work together," and Lionel's like, I'm not going to work with you. You're an opportunist and whatever, and I'd rather deal with it than work with you. And then kick them out of his office. I'm like, all
yeah.
right. So he doesn't hate him enough to work with him to take him down. So I'm like, okay.
I don't
I'm
know.
trying to
Every
understand
time I see
Lionel.
Veronica, I think I know her from something else, and I don't because I already looked up her filmography, and it irritates me.
She just has that face. That's like the mom too. Like, remember you said the
This
mom was
time, this time when I saw her, I was like, did I think she was Constance Towers? Like, I just think everybody's Constance Towers.
everybody in the 80s is Constance Towers.
And I'm like, and she's just so young. That's why like I don't really recognize her, but it's not.
Right. Yeah,
But
I'm still not into Kelly and Joe yet. But Kelly did take the turn I wanted her to.
like I
I'm like,
said last
okay.
time, there's no couples that I'm really invested in at this point.
Well, you are. You're in Lakin and Ted. I feel like you're pretty invested with them.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so
they're kind of just like puppy love right now.
that's why like I felt like the school storyline right now is kind of weak because they were just like in Mr. Bottom's class, which is me, and in my class, and they were like just like I don't know. I don't know if he was like annoyed because he was at Capwell. I didn't think that Ted was being that bad, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to tell your father that you need to go to military school and all that stuff." I'm like, "It's going to be a thing." It's weird. Ah, Jesus
maybe
fuck. Sorry.
maybe he had Mason or Eden or Kelly as a student. I don't see Kelly being bad, but maybe Eden was a bad child,
No,
and so he's like taking it out on Ted.
I don't. You think Eden would have been a bad one? Maybe, I guess.
But we don't know Eden yet. We don't know if she's a wild child or not.
Yeah.
Mason did. Oh, so you didn't hear this? Mason was like, "Well, she does get around, so maybe she's a wild
Mm.
child."
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Maybe.
when Ted was like Eden called, she said she's gonna be back for Dad's birthday. He said in that whole conversation, he said she does get around. So
I like Dominic and Joe like actively working together now, even though they don't. Well, Joe doesn't trust them at all.
even though Joe has to pull a gun on him sometimes to put him in place,
Don't make me get out my gun.
don't make me get the gun.
Don't make me get the gun. Um, I don't know. It's fun that Dominic's actually like out there though, instead of like meeting in these dark places
And
constantly. Like
running
we,
every time they hear a noise.
right, right. That was getting on my nerves. I'm like, okay,
And you
but
know
we'll
what?
see.
Technically, Dominic pulled a gun on him first because there was
Yeah,
early on. He was in the backseat of the car and he put a gun to like his head and made him drive.
yeah.
So whatever, fair is fair.
Don't let us get out our guns.
But,
Um,
all right, anything else?
yeah, I didn't think it was that strong of a week. But, it's like I liked a lot of the other stuff leading up, and then this week I was just like, it was all right. I mean, obviously I
I
wasn't
still
really
like it.
going.
Like I'm still like, all right,
Yeah,
I
I
want to
still
see what
like it.
happens next. So,
Right. But I just felt like it wasn't a strong week. Like there was nothing like a good cliffhangery thing. Like,
well, according to
mm,
Matt, around October things really pick up, and then it just like doesn't stop. It just like keeps going, going, going. So we're almost
and we're
there.
in September. We're in
Yeah,
September, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
We did 40 episodes, so 20. We're probably at almost at the end of September, so maybe in a few weeks, couple of weeks.
Sounds
Things
good.
will-
Sounds good.
Yeah, we're holding you
I'll
to it,
have
Matt.
that.
Don't disappoint us.
Yeah. I feel like I mean, it does feel like it's building, which is good. Like,
Yeah.
slow story builds to big things, most times.
Well, we're at episode 40 now,
Yeah.
and I know Joe leaves in the 60s, and then the recast happens, so we don't have much
Okay.
time with him.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Eden comes around episode 44 or 45, so we definitely will see her next time.
Right.
No, because like in the spoilery titles on the channel that I'm watching, it says Eden's first episode.
Eden returns.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I do watch those, but I never read the titles. I always put them in a playlist and then I kind of just let them play. So
Oh,
I don't
okay.
see the titles. But I did see what you were talking about.
Okay.
Because
um
it said Mr. Bottoms at the top of the one. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you're watching this, you probably noticed that we have our Venmo listed at the bottom of the screen. So if you're feeling charitable and you want to donate to the podcast to help us pay for our subscriptions and other podcasty things behind the scenes, feel free, whatever you feel like you can afford. Also, you can find us on all socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great day. Bye.